Absolutely. It's common sense, right? So it's a great way in which when I work with leaders, a lot of times the first list of values that they come out are the values that, wow, what a coincidence. It's the same values of the organization. Now, that might be true, but I do a lot of in-depth work around values. As Avi was talking about earlier, values are our core, and I do a lot of work around values because organizations sometimes can layer us. They can layer us, they can layer us, they can layer us. And they make us think that we have to act a certain way. Or we should always think, oh, if I work here, I need to value this. So a lot of times the values that come right out of a leader are not always the true values of that individual. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not. And I always want to make sure that the values are in alignment. So I take them through an exercise around that. That's in my book, by the way, in terms of that value exercise. How do you lead with values and how do you kind of discover that? You determine what's important to you. That's the exercise, the activity I was talking about. Declare it and wear it. So declare your values. You explicitly declare your values to your team, to the people that you work with. And then you wear it. You model those values. That's not as easy as writing it up here. And then you assess ongoing alignment. So that goes back to what we talked about. Are you at an organization where your values in the red cube are trying to fit into the circle? You know, you're trying to fit that square into that round hole. It's not going to work. This is where disengagement happens. This happens all the time in organizations, especially at the leadership level. When people get to the level of being a leader, because you're intelligent, you work hard, you've been developed and so forth, and then you think, well, I'm going to stay here. This is where I want to work. But what if your values are not in alignment? What do you do around that? Hashtag discover me. So I do a lot of work with hashtags. That's just the social media, the technology that I'm in. Hashtag discover me. I always have leaders discover themselves. What does that look like? That's the first part of the coaching that we do, is really discovering what makes them who they are. We peel back that DNA. We find out who they truly are. Because remember, as leaders, we've gone through a series of experiences that take us up to today. And we want to make sure that you are the genuine article that you're leading from. That you're not a facade. That you are actually leading based on your values. So, here I am. I used to work in a hotel. So this is me at the front desk. Look how happy I am. I mean, this was taken about 30 years ago. I looked pretty good, I thought, there. You know? So one of the values I had at working at a hotel was relationships. I value that relationship. When I gave that card key like that, I valued that relationship. The manager of the hotel, I worked for Starwood, and the manager of the hotel said to me, Paul, you are like amazing. He goes, you are just amazing. You are the best matchmaker we have at this property. And I'm like, whoa, matchmaker? Matchmaker? I'm working the front desk. I was hoping to kind of get into management. Oh, little did I know. But I was hoping to kind of get into management. And he goes, you're a matchmaker. And I said, what do you mean matchmaker, Steve? And he said, well, you're really good with the clients. You're really good with the guests. You listen to all their needs. You're very good around greeting them. You're valuing that relationship and that communication, Paul. But we call you the matchmaker because you keep sending people to occupied rooms. So we think you're trying to match them up together. Now, I would love to say that this was in the time before computers, but it wasn't. So I had computer systems that actually would come up and tell me, what room they're supposed to be in. But it didn't really matter. For some reason, it didn't quite work for me. It was, something was wrong with the computer at some point. And so, almost on every shift, and they had me on 7 to 3:30 and then 3:30 to midnight, right? I was sending people to the wrong rooms all the time, and there were usually people in those rooms already. Either sleeping, in the bathroom, maybe they were eating. So it just was a very consistent practice. But I valued the relationship. Here I am at a call center. This is when I had longer hair. Really great manager I had there. Call center for United Airlines. So I loved working. I loved people calling me. And I was so interested in wow, where are you going? Where are you going? Why are you going there? Why are you going to New York? Why are you going to LA? How's your mom? Yeah, I we call you the therapist. I'm like, why? He goes, well, we ask each person, each reservation agent, to take about 15 to 18 calls an hour. He goes, you take 2. Because you average about 25 minutes per call. Because you're talking to the customer or the potential passenger so much. And he goes, they love you, but we really, really need you to take more calls. Again, what did I value there? I valued myself. I really valued that relationship, those relationships, right? And then finally, here I am working at fast food. Anybody here work in fast food ever in your life? No, nobody's going to admit that, right? Oh, we got one right here. Great, perfect, beautiful. Yeah, I worked in fast food. Worked at a company called Jack in the Box, which is in the States. Little Jack in the Box clown, hamburgers, jumbo jacks, bonus jacks, tacos, French fries, and so forth. I was so proud to work at Jack in the Box. We had brown polyester pants, an orange kind of shirt, neon orange. We had a little hat that went on. And I was so proud to work at Jack in the Box. Because I was so committed to this company and so committed to wanting to be and help customers that would come in and just want fries, right? But I loved it. Loved it. In fact, I used to wear my costume or my outfit even when I wasn't working. You know? I just was so proud to represent Jack in the Box. I couldn't do anything in fast food. Couldn't. I failed the grill. I failed the fryer. I failed the drive-thru. Until one day, my manager said, you know, she goes, we have the perfect job for you. And that perfect job was this. She goes, you're going to be the Jack in the Box clown. She goes, nobody else would wear this outfit. Nobody else would be the clown. But she says, you would be the perfect clown for this. So again, valuing relationships, valuing customer service, I really valued that extension of myself. And again, when I look at that, this job, which was actually my very, very first job when I was 14 and a half, so just a few years ago, 14 and a half, for about 3 years I had this job. The one thing I valued out of that job was training and development, learning and development. Why? Because I really didn't get it there. They would put you out onto the floor and you would do all this work and you would have to kind of fumble for yourself. There really was no structured training. So I valued the fact I didn't want other people to go through that. When I was 14 and a half, I recognized the fact that I valued training and development. To now when I'm 54, I'm an executive coach. Do you not think I found my voice when I was 14 and a half? Absolutely. Did I know it? No, not yet. But go back through your jobs to look to see what you value. That's where it shows up. So that's just a kind of a quick history of my life. Let's move on to outcomes. Great quote from the Dalai Lama. In order to carry a positive action, we must develop here a positive vision. Leaders need to have a vision for the future. Leaders need to have an end state. So what does that vision look like? Well, it's certainly not full of intention. How many times have you heard leaders or managers say, I had the best of intent. I intend to do that. I'm going to do that. Yes, I want to do that. I think I'm going to do that. We're going to do that next week. Yes, I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I didn't intend to do that. Oh, I'm so sorry. I meant to do that. I'm going to do that. Full of intention. No outcomes. So I always ask the managers, I have them do kind of a diary, my leaders, around, is your I.O. scale, your intention to your outcomes, out of balance? For every intention that you have, that you state, do you have an outcome aligned to that? I call that the I.O. scale. You want to make sure those I.O. scales are in balance. This is something that a lot of my leaders work with each day, and they actually have this printed out, and they have it in their office. It's kind of cute. What is my purpose, and what is my outcome, and how do I know if I will be successful? These questions are valuable for any leader at any generation. Millennials, Gen Y, Gen X, baby boomers, my age, whatever it might be. What is my purpose? What is my outcome? And how do I know if I will be successful? Very simple question. Very simple question. But if you are deliberate with how you look at this question and how you answer this question in terms of your daily life, in terms of your daily interactions, in terms of your emails that you respond to, your emails that you create, the phone calls that you answer, the phone calls that you make, the postings on social media, the times when you interact with people in a group, one-on-one, in person. If you think about what is my purpose and what is my outcome, and how do I know if I will be successful, you will create much more of a positive leadership impression, a positive leadership impact than anything else. In fact, since I've been traveling, I've had some of my leaders, Electronic Arts is going through some restructuring in a good way because they've gone through some acquisition. And so some of the roles are changing. They've had some big reorgs. So some of the leaders there have had to go through a series of meetings and some stepping out of their comfort zone, so to speak. So some of the leaders there have sent me sort of like, okay, here's my purpose, here's my outcome, and this is my measurement of success. This is what I'm looking for. What it says is they are being very disciplined and deliberate with every action they're looking at, right? They're not sending it to me for approval. They're sending it to me for my console on their insight. That's key. How to lead with vision. Create your opportunity state. What is that end state? What is that future state? Align your goals. It's one thing to say, I have a vision. I have a vision. I have a vision. But I have no idea how we're going to get there. That's not good. You've got to have the vision, and then you've got to align the steps to get there. Now, you might not do that by yourself. In fact, I would recommend you don't always do it by yourself. That's why we have teams. That's why we have peers. That's why we have coaches. That's why we have lots of people and lots of resources to help. But you create your opportunity state. What is that end state? What is that future state? What is that way out there? Maybe it's next week, maybe it's next year. That opportunity state. And then you take small,